Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. So, this was a more eventful Raw, but does that really mean that it's good? I'm not too sure. Let's see. So, we start off once again blowing our load in the opening segment, not leaving anything for the end, doing the best thing first, and then so we get Strowman demanding from Kurt Angle to be named the number one contender to Brock Lesnar because he was the only one left standing. And this is what I said. If you're going to have a number one contenders match and then you're just going to have, it ends, in a double count out, a double DQ, whatever it was, and you're going to have Strowman decimate Kane, then you might as well just make Strowman the winner, or just name him the number one contender because he totally destroyed Kane. So what's the point of Kane going in there looking like a weakling? He's the weak link of the match. So Kane comes in, they argue, then Heyman interrupts, doing the same shtick. Doesn't it annoy anybody else how the crowd just chimes in with Paul Heyman like we're hearing something great? It's just an announcement, and an announcement that you've heard for fucking 4 years now. No more than that. What has it been? Fucking 5, 6 years now. Brock returned in 2012. We're going to be coming on 6 years now of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman doing the same shtick. And didn't Heyman say, that they're going to get input from Brock on this situation? Where's the input? He didn't say a word. I've been saying this for fucking years on here. Why doesn't he talk more? It's not like, they let Finn Balor talk on the show. They let Fuckboy talk on the show, but Brock Lesnar's got to be a mute. They act like Balor's Mr. fucking personality. And this guy over here, one of the biggest names, he's not allowed to speak. So, Kane gets F5. Once again, Strowman, is still the one who's looking superior to Kane because Kane is flat on his back looking up at the lights. It's again like, he sat up at the end, but okay, it's like once again Kane is the one down. So what is the point of putting him in the match? We all know he's not gonna win. Oh, but Brad, what about you? Probably would have said Sunday that Dolph Ziggler ain't gonna win no U.S. title. Yeah, I know that, but it's a little bit different. I don't think they're gonna give Kane the belt. I just don't see it happening. That's like the chances of that happening is like 1 to a fucking million. So I wouldn't really look for that to happen anytime soon. Like I said though, it's exciting having Brock and all these big guys out there, and but that's it for the night. No, we don't hear from Brock. No reaction from Kane on being F5 or Braun Strowman, getting angry at Brock Lesnar being there or anything like that. I mean, that's it. That's all you get. That's all you fucking get. And then that's it. They don't go back to it. They don't return to see how any of these guys are reacting to the situation. And they've got 3 hours to go. It was a 10-minute segment, and they have 3 hours to go, and they're not going to see how any of these guys are doing. Okay, I get it. You don't want people to get sick of them. Wasn't that Vince McMahon's excuse why he didn't use Brock more, didn't pay him more, and he didn't want to show Sting? Now Sting is like gone forever. The excuses. Oh, I don't want people to get sick of them. Like we have such a high quality show to fall back on that, we can't afford to keep seeing these guys. They're the biggest stars on the show. You'll keep going back to Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose's fucking romance 1,000 fucking times on the show, but you won't go back to seeing how the even bigger stars are. Braun Strowman, without a doubt, is probably the most over guy on the fucking roster for SmackDown or Raw. The guy comes out, the smarks and the casuals both like the guy. He gets an enormous reaction. And somehow we're not, putting him in more than one segment. But we're seeing Samoa Joe, we're seeing Seth Rollins on multiple. So, all right. So let's go to that now. So Seth Rollins comes out for a match against Samoa Joe. Jason Jordan comes out and he says that he wants to face Joe instead. Joe recommends that they have a match between the two of them. It's like, it makes them seem like a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, why have a fucking match? It's not even an official match. Samoa Joe comes out playing the role of the fucking booker and says, oh, have a match to face me. Oh, what an illustrious award, right? Oh, you could face the fattest of them all. The big purple nurple, big titty Samoa Joe. Like, they'd be like, fuck, we ain't wrestling a match. They're just for the honor, the illustrious honor of facing Samoa Joe. Who gives a fuck? What kind of stakes are those? Winner they had a match years ago, winner faces Undertaker WrestleMania. That I could see. That's a distinct honor. Facing Samoa Joe, I don't know. That's like fucking... That's no illustrious honor at all. That's like arguing who gets to fucking clean the bathroom. I mean, what an honor, what an award. So Seth Rollins ends up winning that match, and he gets a match against Samoa Joe somewhere down the line. Oh, wow. Now for a title or a spot in the Royal Rumble, instead of it being like a Royal Rumble qualifying match or something exciting like that, the winner faces Samoa Joe. Bray Wyatt cuts a promo on Matt Hardy. At least they didn't go for 3 times the charm and fucking put another split Matt Hardy Bray Wyatt thing together. So it was something a little different. Finn Balor beats the Miz Taraj by DQ. They just beat on him. The ref calls for the bell, and then Hideo Idiocracy, whatever the fuck his fucking name is. Kenta! He debuts. Oh, he's not supposed to be here till 205 Live. That's because nobody would have seen him on 205 Live. Because nobody fucking watches 205 Live. That's why he didn't debut on 205 Live. Because nobody watches it, Corey. Anyway, so, I don't know if when I was last watching him in NXT, I don't think he was doing the GTS. He did the GTS. He did the Punk move. They're still letting him do this move, even though he fucking injured, who was it? Dash from the Revival. He broke the man's jaw, and somehow they're still letting him do this move. I really don't get it. It's like Seth Rollins is not allowed to do the curb stomp because they thought it might injure somebody, but the GTS that Hideo Itami does actually injured somebody, and yet he's still allowed to do the fucking move. I don't get that logic. Like, you ban a move because it might injure somebody, but you don't ban a move that did injure somebody. Bravo to the fucking logic there. Amazing logic once again from WWE. Just let's ban a move that in theory could injure somebody, but leave the guy who fucking cracked somebody's jaw wide open. Let's leave him alone. So they win there. Cedric Alexander defeated Drew Gulak. Enzo was like the only good thing about this match on commentary. And then you've got Wade Keller over there saying, oh, he talked over the whole match, and that took away from the... So you see what this guy does? It's the same thing like Magoo. They missed the whole point. They put Enzo on commentary to put the match over, to get Enzo over as champion, and to add some excitement to, would have just been a cold match otherwise. They are facing off for the number one contendership, but it's still a pretty cold match. Nobody gives a fuck about it. So Cedric ends up winning because Enzo ends up leaving. He gets a message on his phone, and Drew Gulak gets distracted, and Cedric ends up hitting his the lumbar check, which, by the way, is another move that looks like he could seriously injure somebody, but they're going to leave that one alone. It's a really cool looking move, I will say that, but once again, no curb stomp, but we'll go with this move that looks like it can seriously fucking, really hurt somebody's lumbar area. Enzo is backstage flirting with Nia Jax. Drew Gulak interrupts. And I will say this one thing. And it was Jim Jefferson who said it first on Facebook, and I agree with the man wholeheartedly. Drew Gulak is a guy who understands what the fuck he's doing. He comes in there with the tissue in his nose, like acting like a total goofball to Enzo, interrupting. Enzo said he's in the middle of something. He says he has to talk right now. Calling him a cruiserweight JBL of sorts. I could kind of see that. I don't know if I compare him to JBL, but I would say that, he does a very good job at conveying like an annoying character, and not being as goofballish as, say, what the fuck is his name? I can't even remember that schmuck's name. The one with the chin. Why can't I think of his name? Anyway, he's not as bad as that guy. Oh, James Ellsworth. There you go. He's not as goofballish as him, but he's a guy that still entertaining. I would keep this guy around. And this relationship is pretty funny between, Gulak and Enzo. Asuka defeated Alicia Fox. We've seen this already. What more is there to say? I'm not really feeling Asuka. This doesn't really seem like the revolutionary woman. She's here, and like they made such a big deal about her. Now she feels like just another woman on the roster. Really, what are they doing with her to really make her stand out? Is there really anything? And it's not even like she's so tough or anything. She comes out there in like a bright colored outfit. And just there's nothing really about this girl that's like imposing or anything about that. Yeah, she's a stiff worker, but besides that, they make it like she's a fucking terror, and she's not. It looks like almost any girl would be capable of beating her. Like, seriously, if you didn't do all that, the announcers or the Empress of Tomorrow, if Alicia Fox just beat her right here, it wouldn't even look that bad. It would be like, okay, it's just another girl being another girl. Nobody, like, tuning into this, I always say this, anybody tuning in who doesn't know, like, the backstories and all the indie and NXT and New Japan information on these wrestlers, they would look at Asuka and just simply say, well, who is she? She's like nobody, really. This is not a big star. What really about her stands out? It's not even like her in-ring work is that amazing. Like, what does she do that just about every other... What does she do that Nakamurphy and Hideo Itami and Finn Balor and all these other wrestlers that are all basically the fucking same, what the hell does she do that any of them don't do? She's the fucking same. And nobody likes to admit it, but she's the same. Because everybody that wrestled in Japan, they all got to do the same fucking thing. They do the kicks. They all do the same shit. Oh, I'm a stiff worker. Okay. It's getting tiresome already. Who's the stiffest worker? And it's not good because we already saw Hideo Itami crack the guy's jaw wide fucking open. He was out for months, took months off the guy's career. It's getting tiresome already. New Japan, this is why This is why they went so many years without catering to these fans. This is why I'm so disappointed in McMahon. Because he stayed away from this shit for so long for this very reason. Because it doesn't work. Japan is not that exciting. They like to make like it's exciting. It is, it's funny. I see a video on What Culture's channel. What WWE doesn't want you to know about New Japan. How about this? I don't want to know anything about Japan. And judging by the ratings and house attendance and all that, many people don't want to know what New Japan is all about. No one gives a fuck, okay, about New Japan. People, all the fucking smarky, darky nerds out there, they care about New Japan. But most people don't. They don't give a fuck what the hell they do over there in the Tokyo Dome. They only care about, it's the WWE is entertaining. It's fun. New Japan ain't fun. It's all about serious wrestling, okay, so, we have whatever that thing is called, the club, whatever, the Bullet Club. So they have that, but it's just a copy of the NWO. Oh, the NWO was, started in Japan. Whatever the fuck the new excuse of why Japan is better than WWE this week is, it doesn't matter. Nobody gives a fuck, and no one is going to ever give a fuck. Okay, let's just move on already about this shit, because I'm sick of the arguments on New Japan. Go watch it then. Keep that shit out of WWE and go be happy. New Japan's a separate promotion. Why does WWE have to be exactly like it? Sheamus, Cesaro, and Samoa Joe defeated Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Jason Jordan. I am so fucking sick and tired of seeing all these guys in the same ring. Fucking Sheamus, Cesaro. So we get Sheamus versus Ambrose one week, then Sheamus versus Seth one week, then we get Seth versus Cesaro, then Dean versus Cesaro, and blah, blah, blah. I'm fucking sick and tired of seeing it already! Seth does a suicide dive. It looks like Dean Ambrose injured himself. I don't know. I just want to see this fucking end. Sheamus hits a bro kick, gets the pin. I'm so sick of seeing these guys. Enough! Come up with something different already. How long is this feud going to go on? It's not even like it's good. Why do they keep stuff that's not even good? They make it go on forever. Then Samoa Joe then attacks Seth and Dean backstage. With Sheamus and Cesaro, they go into the trainer's room. Matt Hardy cuts a promo, and I thought that this was good. This here is a highlight. He's playing chess, going through all his woken madisms, and on the other side, he's talking to a goldfish. Then he knocks over all the chess pieces and starts shouting delete. I am happy to see that it seems like Matt is fully in control of his character here. And this was hysterical. I was greatly entertained by this. Matt Hardy, I hope long after the Bray Wyatt feud ends that they keep going with this and they keep doing unique things. But stop setting them up. I don't want to see that you repeat the same thing over and over and over. And I want to see him in more interesting locations. Why can't they show him at his house? Instead of doing shit with a curtain behind him all the time. To me, that's a little lazy. It looked a bit more surreal this week with the lightly covered curtains. And it wasn't like the curtain is right behind him. So it's obvious they're doing it in the WWE studio. Make him go to his house. Let him play the piano. Show the fucking drones. Why can't you do that shit? You've already changed the name of him and all that. Really give him full freedom to do what he wants with this character creatively. Go to different locales. Spice it up a bit. You know what I'm saying? This is a step in the right direction this week, but I hope they keep going with it. Don't just keep doing in studio, in ring. That shit gets boring. That's the shit that totally kills the entertainment portion of WWE. When you keep doing the same thing week after week, it's the same spiel, the same locales. Like I'm saying, just spice it up already. Do something a little bit different. The Revival defeated Heath Slater and Rhino. I don't know what Heath Slater and Rhino just popping out of nowhere. The Revival comes back to no fanfare. Okay, they beat him. It's like you look at these two guys and they just look like two schmucks. I can appreciate that, the whole thing, no flips, just fists. And it's like, oh, Brad, you talked about the indie style and how it's killing WWE. You should like these guys. The thing is, they're not really giving me a reason to like these guys. What beyond them being great wrestlers and wrestling a throwback style? Like I said, it's enough already. Not every wrestler could be like Chris Benoit, where they don't need to talk and they could get over. I'm sorry, but like I said, they've been letting too many guys coast like that, where they're trying to get these guys over and they're never gonna get over because they have no character, they have no personality. There's nothing that draws you to them. Dash and Dawson, you look at these guys, and what is it about them that looks appealing? Nothing. They look like two plain Jane schmoes. There's nothing about these guys that really seems like they deserve to be in the biggest wrestling company of all. I mean, you look at these guys, and it's like, what happened? When they used to hire guys, they used to have a look to them. Like I said, Orton, Batista, almost everybody on the roster looked like a somebody. Even if they didn't have a huge, colossal physique, there still was something to be said about a guy like Rob Van Dam, for example. You looked at him, and it just wasn't a face, attire, and, the way they carried themselves, the way they'd walk. You know what I'm saying? Rob Van Dam had this. Nobody has this or any of that shit. Nobody does anything cool. You know what I'm saying? When's the last time that somebody came up with something that you wanted to do? When nobody else was around. Don't tell me you didn't go into your bathroom mirror and do this back when RVD was hot, right? I mean, come on. All this shit, this is what gets people over in the wrestling business. Just being a good wrestler isn't enough. You think back to who your favorites are. And who can you say out of your favorites doesn't look like a star or didn't act like a star or didn't have cool mannerisms or a cool catchphrase, right? Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. These are, people's favorites most of the time, and some of mine, to name a few. You know what I'm saying? Bret Hart, they all had something about them. Even if they weren't this miraculous talker. I mean, even Benoit still had this shit that Kent is doing, right? I mean, the thing is, everybody had something to them. Nowadays, it's very few and far between. Backstage, you had Kurt Angle talking to Rhino and Slater, saying they need to up their game if they want more opportunities. They can't be losing all the time. Rhino says he knows how he could toughen up Slater. So I hope this leads to some of the more interesting stuff that they were doing on SmackDown with them. Why, when these guys were getting over, they gave them the tag titles? Why the hell did they just kill them? I'll never understand that. They were entertaining. They were making us laugh. It was getting over the character of the team. And then they just, they send them off to Raw, and then they just completely kill their characters off. I don't get that. Like, you had a good thing going. Why would you turn them back to just plain old vanilla wrestlers? You had Elias in the middle of the ring. He was trying to play his song. You had Sasha Banks come out to interrupt. You had Mickey James coming out to interrupt, and then finally Bailey. Then Elias gets sick of it. He walks out, and Bailey goes for a hug. Elias just walks past her, and I didn't really get this at all. Like, it was funny how he walked past her and refused to hug her, but it's like, what are they doing to Elias? This guy has a great match against Roman Reigns, and then they just have Strowman beat the shit out of him, and then they don't show him for a week, and then he comes back and he's just getting interrupted. I'm not really, back in the day, he probably would have put one of those guitars over the heads of the girls. But, so anyway, they go on Absolution against Mickey James, Sasha Banks, and Bailey. The whole locker room interferes. They all get into a brawl. And Stephanie McMahon comes out. And before we know it, the first ever Women's Royal Rumble has been announced. You guys don't even have 30 women. So, anyway, guys, not to reiterate, I've already said that this was going to happen. I did a whole video on it. I don't want a Women's Royal Rumble. And people said that I was sexist. They said I was a bad guy, that I was impeding the progress of women's wrestling. Here you go, guys. There you go. Women's Royal Rumble. Why? Is it like that anybody even cares about the women's wrestling? Like it even gets a big reaction when they come out already? Look, guys. I've said it time and time again. Nobody will ever care that much about women's wrestling. Ask yourselves this. If people cared so much about women's wrestling and it was so important to the business and that this is something that we need to get past, it's impeding the progress of sports entertainment, then why the hell haven't the ratings increased since the women's revolution? Why hasn't that occurred? Why haven't we had an upswing, an uptake in the ratings since the women's revolution all the way back in 2015 when all they did was throw a couple extra girls out there and tell you it was some revolution? It ain't a revolution. It's a farce. The women's wrestling, it really hasn't gotten any better or anything like that. It's the same shit we've been seeing. They might have put a few better girls out there with more experience. And, yes, we have Charlotte and we have Alexa Bliss where, this is the thing I've got to say, guys. I mean, here's, the champion, Alexa Bliss. She is the champion. Where has she been the past couple of weeks? What happened? She used to be there cutting big promos, and now Alexa's she got lost in the shuffle. Where the fuck is she? We're talking about Royal Rumbles, but the champion who, the winner of this Royal Rumble is going to obviously face off against. Why Alexa doesn't get to talk at all? Instead Stephanie is there just domineering over all the women. We're gonna create a revolution, whether you like it or not. I get you, my pretty. I mean, oh my God. She's got to be instead of the women, they got to have all the women out there and we're going to break down barriers or anything. This didn't get anybody over. Like I said, where is Alexa Bliss to comment on this? Or okay, maybe next week she's going to react to this. But the past month or so, since Survivor Series, she hasn't said a fucking word. They've been keeping her quiet. She's one of the best that you have on Raw to cut a promo, men or women. She's proved herself. She knows how to handle these fucking fans. She doesn't let them get to her. She's like the female Roman Reigns. And somehow, some way, we're just completely ignoring that. And also, where was Roman Reigns on this show? Did anybody even think about that? I just thought about that. Where's Roman Reigns? Where'd he go? I don't see him. he's no, like, I guess he had something to do. What is this, like, week after week? There's a wrestler missing or something like that. Like, but really, I'm like, well, where's Alexa Bliss? I don't see Alexa Bliss. She's nowhere to be found, guys. You know, this is a big announcement. She's the champion. And, you know, none of these women, it's all the same thing. It's always on Raw and SmackDown. Everything has to take place in a big group. There's no, like, individuality. The girls don't have individual personalities. They're all the same. You know, we're just all going to be in the Royal Rumble together. And it's like, it just feels forced. They're going to throw a bunch of girls in there. There's no way that they could have a Royal Rumble with the amount of women they have. What does it add up to, like 15? Unless they're going to use some of the girls from NXT. I don't even know what they're planning on doing. But it's just, I don't want to see this. It's, like I said, the girls, they're sloppy. They're not as exciting to watch. Can we just fucking say it already? We just like the girls because they're nice to look at, okay? That's pretty much what it is. You know, do they have entertaining matches from time to time? Yes. But the thing is, stop trying to be like some white knight motherfucker, trying to be like, oh, I respect the woman's athleticism. Give me a fucking break. You're just busy looking at their tits and asses, you fucking dummy. I mean, enough for it. Oh, respect women's wrestling. That's all you want to do. You don't care about the women's wrestling. Nobody cares about that shit or ever has. Enough already with the phony baloney BS. Oh, I love women's wrestling. No, nobody fucking cares about that shit or ever will. So, like I said, it's phony baloney BS. This is just another way of like, oh, we're on the side of feminism. Yeah, okay. And on SmackDown, Clash of Champions, you're having Natalya cry her eyes out, right? Because that's a way of empowering women. Bravo. Oh, there you go, guys. There is your Raw review. This has been your YWC champ, signing out.